I think the first thing everybody here can do is show up. Best way not to be my standards is to show up. Okay? I've been at a couple of these marches with a couple thousand people on Saturday and a lot of the meetings, and they're enormously wonderful to be at. A great diversity of people. I was a leader of the anti-war movement here, and I don't know hardly anybody. It's really quite fun. And everybody makes their own sign, and you can talk to teachers and lots of people organizing against, crazy. We're the 50th state in the country what we spend on education here in Colorado. You can really learn a lot. Just show up. And I think Michael is making great efforts. We should talk about this, but probably we should get together and try to get people down to things. And the GA meetings are wonderful too. So the second point is that yesterday in Ohio, after a great effort, the firefighters and police officers and teachers and other people voted down the Koch brothers and the puppet Governor Kasich, and his retraction of union rights was blown away. Now that's an independent effort which comes from Egypt and Madison and so on. But if you think that Occupy didn't have a lot to do with it, you're wrong. So about whether you should have heart about this, probably you should have heart. Another thing is that I believe Bank of America, that predatory institution, wanted to charge $5 and various things. And I think Stephen Colbert made the joke that now that they've removed the $5 fee, they were going to charge you a $6 fee removal fee. But nonetheless, there's a whole transfer out of the banks to credit unions. I and my wife are doing that, and any people do that. And I think that every single person should move their money out of these banks. Right? Let them have the top 1% and nobody else. They really have earned it. Right? They're the worst. In relation to your question, what we have here is non-coverage and belittlement of a movement which is non-violent, which is trying to discuss non-violence. So I would say that the corporate media is the enemy of this movement. And if you look at the police, we have police riots. I teach part-time in Metro, and I have a kid who is taking pictures of the tent being removed, and he has the pictures of the police grabbing the tent at 3 o'clock, and then coming and grabbing him to get away his camera. And then he got his camera back, and they took some pictures of a kid who was up in the tree taking pictures, who was lit up with paintball bullets by the police. Now, I'm all in favor. I think this is wonderful to put yourself in the mind of the police and try to work with the police, and I think this is very important. So I don't have to go this at all. But we have police riots. What you saw in Oakland was a police riot to deter the 99% from saying, which Sasha showed, we're being equal. So I think one of the things is to really at least think about it, that the powers that be, not just at the school, are really focused on this. We're not doing very well. So, where was it?
I have one last thing. Real quick, just like a second. I've been following some of the conversations that are happening on the internet with the usual groups that who I've been participating with, and their ultimate goal is for a constitutional amendment, and they're going to have a huge General Assembly. That's the goal next year, 4th of July, 2012 in Philadelphia. That is something that they are striving for, and we'll see if we can get to that point.
On campaign finance, the constitutional amendment?
And I think it's to the Citizens United.
Okay, to overturn.
Yeah, and to reverse the corporate personhood. So those are kind of the rumblings that are happening right now, like on the internet.
I'm kind of losing my voice again.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I have some comments, but then a couple questions for you. So I've been at Occupy Denver for about a month. There's been periods of like 2 or 3 weeks where I spend like 3 or 4 hours a day at Civic Center Park. I attend a lot of GAs. I'm on 3 different committees, one of which is an important one, the admin committee, and I can tell you that there has been a working group started on a statement of purpose or something along the lines for Occupy Denver, and this is Occupy Denver only, speaking to the decentralization question. But one of the insights that I've been gathering, and I've incorporated a lot of this in my study, I'm doing an independent study on civic participation, governance, and conflict resolution, which I think is a really important thing for us to notice and to take note of, especially in the political science arena, is that this movement has been a form of civic participation that we have not seen for years. The idea that voting is the only way that you can express your voice, and the best way, most effective way to express your voice, is something that this movement is kind of bucking, because it's clear that my vote is not expensive enough to actually have the effect that I would like it to have, and for most of us. And what's been happening in response to that problem is the phenomenon of the occupation is what you see is people spending time in the same place together, getting to know each other, forming working relationships, forming friendships. There is a community at each and every Occupy Denver, or Occupy city, especially at Occupy Denver, of people who now know each other and people who are all connected into the work on one cause. And the formation of civic organizations like Occupy is something that I think is a huge positive for our country's trajectory. And I think that the search for the message that the Occupy, what do they want, what are they demanding, I think that it's really something that intellectuals need to reflect on, that it's quite possible that the medium is the message in the Occupy Denver, in the Occupy movement, that the fact that people are getting together and using the collective power of their voices to be heard, literally the people's mic is one of the most symbolically powerful things to come out of this movement. It's about people regaining voice, and they have to form communities to do that. And this Occupy movement has been repairing a lot of the kind of fragmentation that we've been seeing, because the 99% is everyone. So everyone has a stake in this community, has a place in it, and no one should be excluded. Not to say that it doesn't happen, but the point is that what is happening in these groups of people coming together is what will be the message of the Occupy movement, in my opinion. But my question is, first, did you know that there has been an Occupy Auraria group formed? And second, what do you think some of the opportunities and weaknesses for an Occupy DU movement starting are?
Amen. Amen.
I don't even worry about the light rail if that happens.
Well, I don't, I'm just gonna say something that's funny. I guess a month ago, they were camping out for hockey tickets. Do you remember that? And when I came to class and I saw tents out there, I was like, oh my God.
I didn't know about the Occupy area actually when I was sort of compiling what I was looking at for this.
I was so excited.
Yeah. When I was compiling stuff for what I was looking at to talk today, I just labeled a little folder on my desktop that said Occupy Academia. And thought, oh God, don't label it that, I'll get in big trouble.
No, there's actually an Occupy Colleges. It's like the broader national movement that a lot of colleges are part of.
Right. Well, this is the beauty of this event. I mean, Rob bumped into me down at the Occupy movement, and we talked a little bit, and came to me and said, we have to start this conversation. We're supposed to be the progressives in this community. We're intellectuals, right? I mean, at least, yes, we all support it up here. But we're not closing out any ideas of how this can get better. I mean, we need to talk about who, what, where, when, why. Why do we need to move this on? What are the weaknesses? How do we take it to the next level? And so, yeah, I mean, look, I'd rather.
With their studies.
It
helps with
People are
your-
camping out back there now.
It really helps with your studies. Instead of studying revolution, be in one. See what it feels like. Feel the tension of what it's like to be in a nonviolent movement of citizens who are asking questions. Just a month ago, I finally understood Panopticon by Foucault because I was staring at a camera on top of a light looking at me, and it all made sense to me. Now I understand the general will of Rousseau. I get it. You can feel it there, you see it.